Very good afternoon. It's the 27th of October 2022. Welcome to Lunchtime News here on TV1. For the News First team, where the people come first, I'm Senita Sena Naik. Before taking a look at the stories in detail, let's take a look at the headlines. Petition filed with the Supreme Court challenging Inland Revenue Amendment Bill. Extraordinary Gazette issued amending the scope of several ministerial portfolios. TRCSL moved under the Ministry of Technology from Ministry of Defence. Company registration fee hiked. Fresh tax on electricity tariff. Signs of electricity rates increasing further. Dengue cases in the country increased threefold. General public advised to remain vigilant. New British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak reshuffles cabinet. South Africa's Riley Rossouw scores first century of this year's T20 World Cup. Let's take a look at those stories in detail. The budget for the year 2023 will be presented to Parliament on the 14th of November 2022. The decision was reached when the Parliamentary Committee on Business met on Thursday morning. In more news, the Inland Revenue Bill has been challenged via a petition at the Supreme Court. A special petition was filed with the Supreme Court on Thursday challenging the Inland Revenue Bill that was added to the Parliament agenda on the 21st of October 2022. The petition was filed by Athula Saranga Ranavira, General Manager of a leading private company in Sri Lanka, and seeks a determination from the Supreme Court that the Inland Revenue Bill is inconsistent with the Constitution of the country. The petitioner has named the Attorney General as the respondent. The petitioner claims that if the Inland Revenue Bill is passed, it would cause grave injustice to the professionals and the general public. Therefore, the petitioner is seeking a Supreme Court determination on the Inland Revenue Bill, stating that clauses 15, 16, 22, 29, 36 and 39 must be removed from the bill, or a special majority is required in Parliament for the passage of the bill. The Frontline Socialist Party says the government is taxing people who are in starvation. The general price level has skyrocketed by threefold. Receiving a salary of 100,000 rupees a month is the same as receiving 30,000 rupees back in the day. Back in the day, housing and other loans were tax deductible. But now, the payee tax is not considering any loan repayments. They tax you on the entire income. This could end up becoming a major issue in Sri Lanka, where specialized professionals will migrate overseas.
The Income Tax Amendment Bill was presented to Parliament on the 21st of October 2022, and it aims to levy income taxes from 6% to 36% for people whose monthly income exceeds 100,000 rupees. According to these amendments, income tax will be charged at the existing rate for the first 6 months of this financial year up to the 30th of September. However, the government has proposed to implement the new income tax rates from the 1st of October. According to the amendment, taxes will increase under 6 categories for every 41,666 rupees and 67 cents, which increase over 100,000 rupees. It ranges from 6% to 36%.
We spoke with the superintendent and he informed us he is unable to allocate any money for renewable energy at present. Many people are directly and indirectly employed in this sector. As a result of debt that has been incurred by the CEB, a salary cut has been implemented and they have reduced staff as well. The Electricity Users Union says the newly implemented Social Security tax is hampering the lives of impoverished communities in rural areas.
They taxed us like this in colonial times. These taxes are not only restrained to cinnamon gardens. Wickramasinghe is discriminating against the rurals once more. The social security tax was imposed to protect the poor, but the rich benefit while the poor have to pay all the taxes. Most ministers reside in Colombo. Cinnamon gardens is exempted, but the rural farmers have to pay this tax. It is supposed to be one law for all. We request the Attorney General to look into this.
The Bar Association of Sri Lanka says that the enactment of the 21st Amendment must not be used as an excuse or mechanism to discontinue chairpersons and members of commissions whose services helped establish public faith in such institutions. The Bar Association went on to note that the 21st Amendment to the Constitution regrettably does not restore the status quo ante which prevailed prior to the 20th Amendment to the Constitution, and does not place adequate checks and balances on the powers of the executive president. It noted that the 20th Amendment to the Constitution rolled back the checks and balances which were introduced by the 19th Amendment on the exercise of the executive power. The Bar Association of Sri Lanka calls upon the President, Prime Minister, the Speaker, Leader of the Opposition and all political parties represented in Parliament to firstly ensure the integrity of nominations to the Constitutional Council and to ensure that such nominations are devoid of partnership and in a manner that will inspire public confidence. The BASL noted that for this purpose, it is important to ensure that the non-ex officio members of the Constitutional Council appointed from among members of Parliament and among non-members of Parliament be done in a transparent and open manner to also ensure that those appointed will be accepted to the members of the public and be persons of the highest integrity and reputation. In more news, the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Convention for the Anamadu electorate in the Puttlam district got underway on Thursday. The SLPP convention for the Anamadu electorate is part of the series of meetings, and it was organized by MP Sanath Nishantha. SLPP MP Namal Rajapaksa, among other Podujana Peramuna members, were among those present. In more local news, a heated situation arose at the monthly meeting of the Ambalangoda Urban Council yesterday during the election for the vice chairman. The Ambalangoda Urban Council convened on Wednesday under the chairmanship of the Local Government Commissioner to elect a member for the vacant vice chairmanship of the Ambalangoda Urban Council. A vote was held as 2 names were submitted for the vacant position. Following the decision to hold a secret ballot, a heated situation arose at the chamber. The session was adjourned as municipal council members walked out of the chamber following the dispute. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has issued an extraordinary gazette revising the subjects of several ministries. As per the Gazette, the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission of Sri Lanka and allied institutions have been placed under the purview of the Ministry of Technology. The TRCSL was earlier under the purview of the Defence Ministry. The Centre for Excellence for Robotic Applications, which was earlier under the Ministry of Agriculture, has been moved under the Ministry of Technology. The Department of Registrar of Companies, which was under the Ministry of Economic Stabilisation, and the Lanka Postpaid Limited Company, which was under the Ministry of Agriculture, have been placed under the Technology Ministry via the Extraordinary Gazette. The Freedom People's Congress criticised the government's tax policy at a media briefing today. The government is responsible for the country's economy. The government drains and exploits the people instead of uplifting the economy. That is why the government is imposing so many taxes. Many people have obtained bank loans, leasing and other loans. The interest rate has increased around 100% compared to 1 year ago. Indirect taxes have also increased by around 100%. The government is bleeding out of the people who are gasping for breath.
සාපේක්ෂව බැලුවාම තමුන් ගන්න සෑම භාණ්ඩයකටම සෑම සේවාවකටම රජය විසින් අය කරන වක්‍රබදු 100%ක් විතර වැඩි වෙලා තියෙනවා. මේ පණ අදින මිනිහගෙන් තමයි මේ ආණ්ඩුව මේ ලේ ටික එළියට ගන්න උත්සාහ.
An extraordinary gazette was issued increasing the company's regulations and society regulations fees. The extraordinary gazette was issued by President Ranil Wickremesinghe as the Minister of Finance, Economic Stabilization and National Policies. The extraordinary gazette on increasing the company's regulations and society's regulations fees was issued on Wednesday. A fee for the registration of a private limited company has been increased to 4,600 rupees from 4,000. The new fee for the registration of a public limited company is 23,000 rupees. Previously, the fee was set at 20,000 rupees. For the registration of an unlimited company, the fee has been increased from 15,000 rupees to 17,250 rupees. For the registration of a company limited by guarantee, the fee has been increased by 4,500 rupees. Accordingly, the amended fee is 34,500 rupees. The complete gazette can be accessed on www.newsfirst.lk. The number of dengue patients in Sri Lanka has increased by threefold since last year. The director of the National Dengue Control Unit, Dr. Sudat Sambaravira, told the media that over 62,000 dengue cases were reported within the last 10 months.
60 people have died from dengue within the last 10 months, with the majority of them being children and people under the age of 50. Over 40% of dengue cases have been reported from the western province, with the majority being reported from the Colombo district. The National Dengue Control Unit says that cases in Gampaha, Kegol, Kalutara, Kandy, Gaul, Puttalam, Jaffna and Kurunagal districts have also increased compared to last year. You need to rest well if you are down with fever. You must consult a doctor if the fever lasts more than 24 hours. We will be able to combat this disease if we follow these steps. You should take paracetamol if you are down with fever and body aches. Please refrain from using other medicine, because other medicine will make matters complicated if you are diagnosed with dengue.
Dengue mosquitoes often breed at schools, offices and construction sites. We need to maintain these sites in a way in which mosquitoes can't breed if we want to control this disease. We need to obtain medical assistance immediately from a qualified doctor if you are pregnant and down with fever.
12,500 metric tons of urea from China reached Colombo on Wednesday. The Ministry of Agriculture announced that a vessel carrying 12,500 metric tons of fertilizer from China reached the country on Wednesday night. The stock of urea fertilizer was moved to Sri Lanka under the World Bank loan assistance. The ministry further said that the stock of urea fertilizer will be distributed to the farmers in Ampara and Patiklo districts. The passing out parade of the National Cadet Corps Herman Luz and De Souza Championship 2022 held at the NCC Training Center in Rantambe was held at the NCC Training Center at Rantambe yesterday. Defence Secretary General Kamal Gunratna was the chief guest of the event. The Mazenod College Kandana was awarded the NCC Herman Luz and De Souza Championship 2022. Accordingly, Ananda College was placed runner-up, while Nalanda College secured the second runners-up. Maliyadeva Girls School in Kurunagala won the De Souza Championship, while Devi Balika College Colombo was placed runners-up. For nearly a decade, Gamada's door-to-door campaign has strived to identify the plight of those in Sri Lanka and to purpose sustainable solutions. And today is day 22 of this year's edition of the Gamada door-to-door campaign. Today, Gamada teams from together with the University of Peradeniya are touring 3 districts of the country.
The Gamada teams toured the Nuwara, Gampaha and Colombo districts today. The team in the Nuwara district went from home to home in the Meetilimara area this morning. The livelihood of those residing in the area is vegetable cultivation. However, the shortage of agrochemicals has hampered their trade. Teams touring the Colombo district today travelled across the valley over to Kande village, falling under purview of the Sitawaka Divisional Secretariat in Hangwella. The village, situated on a mountainous setting, is home to around 50 families. The key issue they are facing is the lack of access to clean drinking water. A majority of the village depends on one well to quench their thirst, which is insufficient to meet their demands. The Gamada team in the Gampaha district toured the Gengoda Grama Seva division in the Dompe Divisional Secretariat today.
In more local news, a protest was staged at the Peradeniya University yesterday against state-sponsored suppression. The protest was organized by the Students' Union of the University of Peradeniya and the Faculty of Allied Health Sciences. Chairman of the Students' Union of the University of Peradeniya says the government is suppressing student leaders who speak up on behalf of the public.
Newsfirst goes global once again. Newsfirst joins the Asia Vision membership of the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union. 28 countries, 30 news channels, 24 hours a day.
Newsfirst with the people.
Two Australian warships departed the island after successful naval exercises with the Sri Lanka Navy.
The 2 Royal Australian Navy ships HMAS Adelaide and HMAS Anzac departed the island on the 26th of October 2022 after a successful passage exercise conducted with SLNS Sayurala and SLNS Sidurala of Sri Lanka Navy. The duo of RAN ships arrived at the port of Colombo on the 25th of October for engagements with the Sri Lanka Navy as part of Indo-Pacific Endeavour 2022. On their departure, Sri Lanka Navy bade customary farewell to the RAN ships in compliance with naval traditions at the port of Colombo. The exercises conducted between the ships of Royal Australian Navy and the Sri Lanka Navy comprised of replenishment, communication, helicopter landing and steam power of Colombo. Exercises of this nature will enhance mutual cooperation between the two navies and invariably pave the way for successful conduct of maritime operations with regional partners in the future.
As the Ukraine war drags into its 9th month, Russia's woes have worsened. In week 35 of the war, Russia was on the defensive as Ukrainian morale remained high. As Russia's war in Ukraine dragged into 9 months, its army's weakness became clearer, with an apparent reliance on Iranian support growing stronger.
Ukrainian civilians are brushing off attacks widely understood to be carried out with Iranian-made Shahed 136 suicide drones despite Tehran's insistence otherwise, and Ukrainian forces are taking more territory in the south and east. Meanwhile, United States lawmakers and the French president appear to be sending mixed signals about their resolve to continue supporting Ukraine. Russia's TASS news agency reported that Moscow's forces were preparing Kherson city for street battles as authorities evacuated doctors, teachers and bankers from the wider area. To date, about 70,000 have fled Kherson. Ukraine says the evacuations are better described as forced deportations to Russia or occupied territories. The head of Ukrainian intelligence, Kirill Budanov, told Ukrainian Pravda he believes Kherson city will probably be captured by the end of the year. The heaviest of battles lies ahead in Kherson as Ukrainian troops advance on occupying Russian forces, according to a Ukrainian presidential advisor. While Russia's grip on the strategic territory is shakier than in previous months, it does not appear ready to abandon it. Rather, it appears to be digging in for prolonged fighting after ordering civilians to evacuate and inviting the remaining men to join local militias. The war is, however, taking a toll on the Russian military. Russia has been running out of missiles and ammunition, Western and Ukrainian sources confirm. Terror with the use of drones may be around for a long time, but with the use of missiles, no, because the reserves are almost exhausted.
Rishi Sunak declared just hours after becoming the leader of the United Kingdom Conservatives that the party, polling at its lowest level for a generation, needed to unite or die.
Sunak rewarded his closest political allies who had stuck by him during the previous leadership race in the dog days of late August, even when it became clear that he would lose to Liz Truss. They include Dominic Raab, who returns as Justice Secretary and Deputy Prime Minister, positions he last held under former Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Long-standing loyalist Simon Hart will become Chief Whip, leaving him in charge of discipline and management of members of Parliament. Jeremy Hunt is to remain as Chancellor of the Exchequer. Liz Truss appointed Hunt as Chancellor just days before she resigned as Prime Minister after she reversed the policies in her mini-budget. Until then, Hunt was on the backbenches, having come last in the summer leadership contest. Michael Gove's reappointment as Levelling Up Secretary, the job he had held under Boris Johnson, marks another return to the front line for one of the Conservative Party's most high-profile politicians. James Cleverly has been appointed as Foreign Secretary. Cleverly was a strong supporter of Liz Truss's leadership bid in the summer and backed Boris Johnson's return over the weekend, but few in Whitehall are surprised that he remained in the Foreign Office. The pro-Brexit Foreign Secretary has only been in the office since September, but has won praise from civil servants for his genial and hard-working manner. Sunak's decision to keep the 53-year-old in place is an effort to maintain some continuity in the cabinet, particularly given the war in Ukraine. 6 days after she was sacked by Liz Truss for breaking the ministerial code over the leaking of confidential government information, Suella Braverman has made a surprise return to the Home Office as Home Secretary. The 42-year-old comes from the right wing of the Tory party and is popular with hardline Brexiters. Braverman's appointment will be controversial given the reason for her recent departure, but it is in repayment for her endorsement of Sunak's leadership campaign.
Finally, in your sports news, a century from Riley Rousseau has helped South Africa post 205 runs for 5 wickets in their ICC Men's T20 World Cup against Bangladesh in Sydney on Thursday and secure a resounding 104-run win. The end of this edition of Lunchtime News here on TV1. For the News First team, I've been Senita Senanayak. Take care and stay safe.